intro. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Jay Talks, today's relationships talk show. We're glad to see y'all back. And guess what? We got Miss Lady K. Y'all see her? What's up, Lady K?
Hey, Jay.
Hey, hey, hey. Mm.
How's everybody doing? I hope it's not too cold out there for everybody.
Oh, it's cold. I think everywhere. I think even Atlanta folk were even talking about it, how cold it was.
Ooh.
Yeah, we've had our spells. Mm-mm. Yeah. So how you been doing, Miss Lady K?
I'm doing great. I celebrated my birthday this weekend. Woo-hoo.
Mm.
And been traveling. Currently, I am at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, which is right outside of St. Louis. So y'all have me coming to you tonight from Missouri.
From Missouri. All
Yeah,
right.
and it's cold here too.
Mm. Well, all the way from Missouri, and
Yeah,
well, we glad to have you back on the show. All right,
I'm
folks,
glad to be back.
ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, cats and dogs, pigs
Do
and
and do
horses.
that.
Well, some folk got animals that watch TV too and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I even saw on YouTube where this dog was listening to the radio and singing along with it. Of course,
Get out of here.
for real.
Ooh, what are we talking about tonight, Jay?
All right, for y'all out there in the radio and TV land, tonight we will be dealing with you love me not, love me or hate me. You remember that? You remember back in the day when they had the little flowers with the petals. He loves me,
Mhm.
he loves me not. He loves me, he loves me not. Mm.
And if you stopped on He Loved Me Not, you throw that fly away and pick up another one and keep going.
Ain't nobody won't get that one.
uh. But you know what? That makes me think about mm, mm, mm. That makes me think about that movie. It's a thin line between love and hate.
Mm. Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
he he loved me, he loved me not. And it's funny that you talk about the games that kids play that we tend to carry over into our adulthood with that same type of mentality.
Right.
He loved me today, he loved me not. He loved me today, he loved me not. I mean, either he loves you or he doesn't.
Mm.
keep flip flopping all over the place like a wet fish on the floor.
Oh, the people don't do that, do they? They do the paddle waddle fish thing.
So, I mean, it's just horrible. It's like when people say, well, if you love me,
Mm,
you do this. It's like it almost becomes a game of control,
mm,
you know? Because as long as you love them, then you're going to do this for me. But if you don't love me, then you're not going to do that for me. And,
boy,
that's just the wrong way to look at things.
boy.
If somebody's putting you through all of that, you need to reevaluate your relationship because love shouldn't come with conditions on it.
Oh well, I'm glad you said it. And I didn't. I got some help today.
I mean, but it's true. It's so true, and it's not just a female thing, and not just a man thing. It's an everybody thing. It doesn't matter, what sex you are to get caught up in that type of a vicious cycle. Lady K will tell you real quick. It's no, you love me today, you love me not. Later on the day when I don't do something that you want me to do for you. Because that's like a red flag just flapping in the wind, No, that's not cool. Not cool by a long shot. How you going to have a productive relationship, where you're putting all of these conditions on love?
Ooh, yes.
And stipulations on it. How you going to do that?
You said conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people running around there singing that Tina Turner song. What love got to do with it?
That's true too. But it brings me right back to that. It's a thin line between
love and hate.
Mm. Because what the man sang in the song, the nicest woman in the world can become the meanest woman in the world if you make her that way.
Yeah.
And if you love me, you love me not. He loved me, he loved me not. Some people. Sometimes when I think about that, I think about when you're in a group of people, how the couples be all hugged up on each other, like they so much in love, and he loved me so much. And when they get home and tell, he loved me not. It shouldn't be such a drastic swing in that thing.
Wow.
It shouldn't be like that. And if you are experiencing that, actually, that's a form of abuse. Right. If you really think about it, that's emotional abuse.
Yeah, that is a form of abuse. Yeah.
And and in this month of February, where everybody's talking about love, okay, prime example. Week ago, Valentine's Day. All that lovey-dovey. How many people feel lovey-dovey like that this weekend?
Wow.
Yeah. It was a week ago.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't fell out between last week and this week. How you fall out that quick? If you really love somebody, you should. It's not something that's easy. People think that love is easy. It's never easy. And anything worth having is never truly easy. It takes work and dedication. And you have to have that in order to have your relationship grow and progress. That's childish stuff. I like what you said in the beginning, Jay. Love you, picking the flowers. You love me not. That's something you do when you're 10, 11, 12, not when you're 30, 40, 50.
Well, I think some people still like them flowers.
They still picking.
Yeah, they still picking flowers.
Did you ever pick the flowers over a girl?
You got to ask me that, really?
Yes, I really want. I'm sure our listeners would love to know.
The listeners would love.
Yes, and Lady K would love to know if Jay ever picked a flower over a girl. She loved me, she loved me not. She loved me, she loved me not. Ooh,
Oh wow.
let me get another flower. Hold up, let me get another flower. She loved me.
Hey,
Well, she
you know, now if I was to have did that, if I were to have done that, I think I'd probably be sitting in the middle of a plantation trying to do that. because um, because it would probably be my luck. I'd probably end up with the ones that said "Love me not."
but see, that's hold up. That's
I
when
have
you
a
bend down.
wheelbarrow load.
No, but that's when you bend down and you pick up another flower.
That's what I'm talking about. I've been to bull pick so many of them, trying to get the right one.
Oh wow,
I have me a wheelbarrow load.
that's messed up. Oh, oh Jay, that's messed up.
Oh, Bo J. Uh,
Oh Jay, that's messed up.
I need to get me one of them sound buds that go ah.
Oh, I could just picture you with your little wheelbarrow full of weeds. 'Cause that's all that's left when you took off all the flowers full of weeds.
Mhm. Yep.
oh,
But you're right.
that'd be a good topic later on though. Have you weeded your garden lately?
Oh, we're gonna have to come up with that one. All right. Y'all heard it,
All
folks.
right.
Have you weeded your garden lately?
Ooh, 'cause them weeds will show
Mm,
them choke the life out of you.
yeah, they will. Oh boy.
But
Have you?
that's another show.
Oh,
That's for another day. We gonna say that for another day.
Yeah, that's for another day. Yeah, we gonna say that one.
So
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, what do you think about when people, because I know that you do some counseling, when they come to you, as a couple,
Right.
and one of the members of the couple will say, one of the partners will say, well, you know, sometimes I feel like, she just flip flopping all over the place.
Uh huh.
How do you counsel somebody in that situation?
Oh, folk that be flip flopping all over the place. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the time when people go to counseling, one of the first things that they want to do, that they walk in already geared up, ready to tell their personal side of a story of the story. Of how they see the problem, and um, you know the one I always love to use. It's so comical, but um, they just see their personal side. Majority of the time, people don't talk about our problem; they talk about my problem
Mm.
in the relationship, and what my problem is with him, or what my problem is with her, and it gets so individualized that you don't really hear what our problem is. And people are most of the time pointing the finger. So um and the one I like to use um is the one about the you remember the ketchup.
Oh yes.
Well, one, they had been arguing and fighting, and actually, really, really, folks, they were at the point that they said that they were ready to fist fight over arguments of ketchup. But one, I know you're probably raising your eyebrows trying to figure out what was up with that. Well, one of it, liked their ketchup hot, and the other one was put it in the refrigerator. The other one that liked their ketchup cold, the other one was put it in the cabinet. And they went on for years. And that's what they started. Well, pointing the finger. Well, I like my ketchup hot. And he put it in the refrigerator. I like my ketchup cold. And she be doing this. See, they telling their individual side of the story, but it's our problem. And if they had just took the time and they knew the answer, majority of the time you always really pretty much know the answer to a lot of your problems. So many times folks just don't stop to think about it. But before I could get it out of my and I didn't do the Dr. Phil thing, just go out and just tell them, you need to get two ketchups. That solve your problem. because a lot of people just don't take time to think. They don't. They simple thinking can resolve a whole lot of problems. And majority of the
Mhm.
time, I'm a firm believer that many people know what the answer to their problems are. They just too busy thinking individual, as an individual instead of as a us. And um, if they had a thought about a us, then they wouldn't, as cheap as ketchup is, they would have bought two ketchups, you know, for us. Two ketchup for us. Not one ketchup and one claims it. uh, but before I just opened up and just said, with two smart, intelligent folk like y'all, somebody was to say the same story to you before I can even finish it, we'll get two ketchups. I mean, like, why? And I'm saying to myself, why couldn't y'all do this a long time ago? But yeah,
But
huh? Go ahead.
what? What that also makes me think about is like um, a lot of people. Well, I should say a lot of people, but some people tend to think that love is just supposed to be just this perfect animal. You know, he's perfect for me or she's perfect for me, and everybody has idiosyncrasies
Mhm.
that may get on our nerves here and there.
Mhm.
And the thing about it is that nobody's perfect.
Oh,
Nobody's perfect.
you said the
And
best part. Mhm.
the thing is that some people get caught up in this cycle where, as long as I'll say as long as he's doing everything that I want him to do, oh, I just love him to death. But as soon as he does something, that rubs me the wrong way, oh well, then I fall out of love with this person. No,
Mhm.
it doesn't work that way. You have to be big enough and broad minded enough. If you're in a relationship and somebody does something that irritates you and it really gets under your skin, y'all should have that communication
Mhm.
where you can say something to that person. Number one, without them getting totally offended,
Mhm. Right.
and that's love. That's not a love hate type of relationship.
Right.
But some people just be like, well, I just hate it when Johnny does this. And then they tend to harp on that. And then all of a sudden they go, well, I'm not so sure I love them anymore. But did you love them from the beginning? Because love covers a multitude of sins. That's the Bible.
That's right. Yep.
And the thing is that when you really love somebody, it'll it's a little bumpy, but it'll still cover that.
Hmm.
It'll still cover that. Where you'll be able to approach that person, the correct way.
Right.
Because I mean, I'm in a relationship with my boyfriend. He has a habit that just rubs me, but I talked to him about it. And then we discussed it. And then
Okay.
we modified, he modified that. But then in that same token, he also turned around to me and said, hey, sometimes when you do this really, and I'm like, oh.
Okay.
And because we're looking from the inside out, we don't necessarily see what somebody else sees looking from the outside in.
Mhm.
And you have to open your eyes, open your mind, and be willing to accept that and realize that person loves you enough to tell you the truth about yourself.
That's
That's
right.
the whole thing. That's
Mhm.
like a whole other level of realization.
That's right.
Because a lot of us, how they say, you can't handle the truth. That is so true.
Oh yeah. Man, boy, did you step on something right there? That is so much the truth because
Hmm.
I listen and ladies, um, I'm not beating up on y'all, but men too. But this is really um, predominantly in women, and that's because women in their claim or their experience is being played and all that, being lied to and all, um, and the unfaithfulness that's more found in the male than in woman. I'm not saying women don't, no, not there are some women that don't that are not unfaithful, but I'm just saying the practice of it is more found in the men than the women. But women tend to do this, and we did that show on internet dating, and as I was getting statistics and information and just you know that just basically getting information, as was looking at a lot of the profiles, I looked at the men and looked at the women, just to see what were people writing, and I would see majority, and I would say this was like 90% of the women, and it was all racist, and I'm serious, all racist, um, and I found some things very ironic because they will all say. Uh, um, Someone who is religious or goes to church or loves Christ, they put that religious air in it. And some of those folk, I know, I'm sure don't go to church their own selves, all right, or they may believe in God, um, but that's one of the first things they want, a religious man, all right. Um,
Mhm.
and we did that other show. Um, is the church the best place to find a mate? Um,
Mm.
yeah. So they put that
Mhm.
religious air as the first one. Then they go in. Uh, they want a person that one of their demands or criteria of the finding in the character of the person is that they be honest, truthful, open-minded, and in conversation, willing to be expressive, you know, um, and be open. But like you said,
That's what they say they want.
that's what they say they be wanting. And
Mm-mm.
like you were saying, there are some folk who can't handle the truth. They
Mm-mm.
say they want the truth, and I remember a long, 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 long time ago. Uh,
Ooh, don't age yourself like that.
I didn't put no zeros behind it. Uh, but all right, folks. um,
Ah,
but the one thing about it is that yeah, some far away time in my life. Uh, is that better?
far
I
away time.
Yeah, far away
Mhm.
time in my life.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
um, I when I was in my and when I was in my singleness, uh, um, I've been in and out of singleness, um, few times, and that would be from ranging from when I say in and out, and doing it out from dating and committed relationships. When we actually call ourselves committed, we supposedly saying that we're taking ourselves off the availability block, the
Mm.
list, right? That's what we're supposedly to be saying. Because if we haven't taken ourselves off the availability list, then that means you're still in the dating realm. Mm. Um, freelance dating because you can still date
off,
when you're
off
married.
the
Yeah,
availability
yeah,
list.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
The availability list. Uh, and so back when I was in on the availability list as single, and I remember that I would run up on ladies, and I would hear that same phrase, um, are you honest? Are you tell the truth? Cause I can't stand a lie. I can't stand lies. I can't stand and and so I would tend to ask a question, um, because many folk don't realize that while they're so busy trying to pressure a person down to not lying or a lie. They don't realize that there's a lot of things that the person lies to their own self about. That so what I'm like um, telling yourself who the person that's right in front of you really is, and we make excuses. Um, we see that a person um, is easily tempered.
Mhm.
All right, easily tempered. They snap in a minute. Now we see them snapping on everybody else. You don't think they're gonna end up snapping on you sooner or later?
That's one of those she let me not
Yeah, right.
moments.
Mhm. I mean, so I mean, are you really telling yourself the truth about that person? I mean, some many times people might have certain clouts or certain material things, certain cars or money in the
That's
bank
right.
and all that. So they tend to put the things that they see that they don't want off and kind of lie to themselves. Well, maybe they'll change. I was just talking to a lady 2 weeks ago, and kind of in the counseling wasn't really set up that way, but it wound up ending that way. And she was expressing that even though she got married at a young age of 20, um, and her husband was 10 years older than she was, but she she knew that he wasn't her type, but she went on and married him because the had a nice car, had money in the bank,
Mm.
had a nice car and the money in the bank, and all she could see was herself. Whenever she got in that car, she felt good driving that car. All right, had a nice tight car, um, and had a house and all that, and that's she started seeing herself in the house. I mean, that's what she confessed. And then, but after getting married, um, the person that she knew was not fitting for her or proper for her or not her
Mhm.
type of choice. She eventually got tired of being around that guy and that person, and it was like, I don't care about the house, I don't care about the car, I don't care about his money. I'm tired. I have no joy, I have no peace. I'm not happy. I just want out. And the I guess the bottom line of that story, she realized she lied to herself because she thought that if she married the guy, that he would conform to being the kind of guy that 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 she preferred to have in her life. Mm,
You know what? But I also look at it like,
mm,
maybe she grew to the
mm.
point where, you know, all of us, want to reach a certain level of maturity.
Right.
And in order to finally say that you had quote unquote arrived at that level is when you stop looking at the things that are superficial, the
Right.
things
Uh
that are
huh.
material, and you really take a good, hard, close look at the things that are intangible. You know, tangible things are easy. You like a kitty cat. They like shiny objects, you know. And you can play with a shiny object. You can hit it and do all kinds of things with it, but it's not something that's going to last. When we get past that and truly start looking at the things that are intangible, is when you start to reach and stretch toward that level of maturity in your relationship
Right.
and in your
Mhm.
expectation of a relationship. Because that goes into the you love me not type of thing. Because as long as you're dealing with that superficial stuff, you're gonna have that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Right. Mhm.
I know plenty of women that have, dated a guy when they met him, he didn't have a job,
Mhm.
no form of income. He wasn't working a pie factory chasing pies, when you met him.
Mhm.
So what makes you think that after y'all hook up, you move him in with you, he's gonna go out there and provide for you? Like you always say, didn't you see the signs?
Did you see?
you know,
Mm.
The signs were already there. Not saying that a person can't change,
Mhm.
but at a certain point, you have to be strong enough to let that go. If you made a boo boo, because we all make mistakes, nobody's perfect.
Right.
We've all been in crazy relationships where we knew something was really crazy. But the thing about it is, are you strong enough to break that and let that go, learn from it, hopefully, and move forward? You won't have that he loves me not type of thing. Because every time I think about that, I go right back to what you said, Jeff, in the beginning. I think about, teenagers, even younger than teenagers, playing with little flowers.
Yep.
She loved me not. Or write a little note, check the box, you love me not. You know,
Yeah,
that
that's
type
right.
of thing. And to me, that's immaturity at its best example.
Yep, it is.
And there are people who are in their 40s still playing that game.
Still playing that game.
She loved me not.
Mhm. Relying on
Or
what the.
older, she loved me not. And that's a sad place to be because you will never truly be happy because you will never truly be secure in your relationship in that type of a situation.
Right. Right. Right.
When
I
I look
agree.
at, some of these older couples who've been married 40, 50 years, and I like to ask them, how did y'all do it? A lot of times they say the exact same thing but in different ways. They say communication. We learn from each other.
Right.
And you have to be open in order to accept that, to receive, You have to be open in order to receive. A lot of people, we're not open. We're closed off because we think we already know everything. We think we already got it together. You know, we think we just all of that and a bag of chips. You missing the dip to your chip
That's right.
by being that way.
Mhm.
By being that way. A lot of those couples that have survived, and it's survival because think about it. I've read in several places that the things that don't pull you apart make you stronger. So you can imagine getting married 40, 50 years, the things they've had to go through in order to keep that relationship fresh and to keep the relationship moving and motivated and progressing in the right direction. A lot of people, younger people, we don't want to go through the paces. We got that microwave mentality. We want it right here, bam, right now.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
But you got to go through in order to get where they are. And we're not willing to put in the work.
Oh, it's some work. That's right. It's it's some work. It's
It's some work.
it's
And the
like it's
last
the
thing
same thing as the work that you go in and hit that clock. Sometimes you don't feel like even getting up out of your bed, eh, but if you're gonna get anything worthwhile, in other words, that paycheck, get anything worthwhile, you got to get out of that bed. You got to make some sacrifice. Yeah, let the cold hit you a little bit. Uh,
let that
get
cold hit you a lot.
yeah, yeah. Get on the work, put in an effort to do the work, just so that you can be counted worthwhile to receive that blessing at the end of the week or whenever that pay period is, because it'll pay off. Mm. But
But
a lot of people don't want to work.
it's just like too. He loves me not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like oh my God. When I think about that, also I think about people that end up in abusive relationships.
Yep.
Because
Oh
some
wow.
people feel as
Mm-hmm.
though he doesn't love me unless he hits me.
Uh, oh, that
And
jealousy that kind of
that's
goes.
a
Yeah.
awful vicious cycle to get into.
Yeah.
He loves me not. If he doesn't hit me, he doesn't love me. And I've never understood that concept.
Yeah. I never
I've
have either.
tried.
I tell you another thing that goes right along with it too is the jealousy thing. Well, they need to show me that they can get jealous over me or something. Some people even tempt folk to get jealous. just to
Mhm.
see if they could get a response. Boy, some
Mhm.
folks, boy, if anybody out there is practicing that, y'all don't know what you're setting yourself up for. And I never could
You know,
understand that. I mean,
I I tell you what, you watch that show Snap.
yep,
It's a whole lot of people getting their lives are cut short. People ending up in prison or
mhm,
worse
yep,
behind jealousy.
behind
And you're right,
jealousy.
that is a he loves me type of situation.
Yep,
You know, that's just craziness.
it is.
That's just craziness. I've never truly understood that. I mean, you know, nobody wants somebody to try their partner. You know, they don't want nobody trying. But you should have confidence enough to know that, you know, he's going to do or she's going to do exactly what they want to do. You can't control that other person. Um, but you can sincerely hope, you know, that they will choose to not fall into that trap. But
Right.
there's no way that you can control somebody. You know, if he loves me, he's not going to look. Everybody looks.
Oh yeah.
Everybody looks.
Everybody.
Everybody looks. And women kill me with that. I don't want him looking at anybody. Let me tell you something. Everybody looks.
Well, you know what? You're right.
Everybody looks. The thing is that
mm,
what do you do after you know? Now a look is a quick glance. A look
right.
is not you're gonna stand there and stare, you know, then wonder, ooh, I want to get with this person.
Yeah,
No, that's not.
undressing.
That's going beyond a look.
Yep.
But everybody looks.
Everybody
If
looks.
they say they don't look, they lie.
All right.
Everybody looks.
And there is no existence of the devil because it has been prophesied that Satan's job is to tempt. Now you're gonna get tempting thoughts. That's the look.
Mhm.
That's the look. But um uh it'll come into your head. It'll speak to you. But how you handle it, how you rebuke it, how you brush it off after the look, okay, um, is the is the quality of how you're fighting that temptation, or how you're dealing with that temptation, because your eyes see what it sees, and if you, I mean, you know, if, I be I you know I used to hear folk, they be walking, and one of them turn around, you looking at them? No, I wasn't looking at what, I ain't seen nothing. What? I was like, did you all of a sudden become a blind man? A blind? I mean, for real? I mean, you were looking right at them. I
Hmm.
mean, you saw everything else except that person, right? I mean, um, and like I said, like we were going back, some people just can't handle the truth. I mean, if the
That's
person
true.
was to just to be honest and say, yeah, I saw them, they were cute, okay, and and
Yeah, you know,
you
and
know,
that's
and you're
I
being
respect that.
honest, but
Mhm.
then you're going to get beat up for just being honest because the person really can handle the truth, because the truth is that everybody looks, even the one that's jumping on the man, or the man jumping on the woman, whichever. They were looking. They looked at some point of time.
But you know what's funny?
I,
It's like this.
mm,
You know, but there's
mm,
certain ways a
right,
man can really smooth that over.
right.
Because you be like, did you see that? You're like, yeah, I seen that. But baby, you look so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that, but that ain't my type. She just advertising for everybody.
Hmm.
Oh man, ooh, so many circumstances. But again, she loved me not.
Yep, she
He loved
loves
me,
me.
he
She
loved me
loves
not.
me not. Yep.
You know, the thing is too, it's like when you get into a disagreement with your partner, because no relationship's perfect, you're gonna have disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
Just because y'all have a disagreement
Mm.
doesn't mean that that person loves you any less.
That's right. That's right.
It
Right.
really doesn't.
Because
It
we're
doesn't. Some
different.
people grab on to that. You know, they have a little disagreement, a little fight. You know, and all of a sudden it's he doesn't love me. You need to be careful of the words that you speak.
Right.
The Bible says life and death lie in the power of the tongue of your own tongue.
That's
The
right. The
words
own
that
time.
you
Right.
speak, the words
Mm.
that come out of your mouth.
Right.
So, why are you speaking all of this stuff into your relationship?
Yep. That's right.
I never really understood that either. I tell people all the time, speak life.
Mm.
Speak life.
That's right.
You speak death and damnation all the time.
Yeah.
Try speaking a little life and see what happens.
That's right. That's right. Well,
See what happens.
well, religious on the religious side of things, and this goes for all y'all church folk out there. Um, I had to get one in. I can't help myself. I'm sorry. Well,
Don't get it.
I guess I'm really not sorry because I do it all the time. But
Yeah, speak the truth. Speak the truth, Jay. Speak the truth.
um,
Speak the truth.
well, we are a real talk show. So, um, yeah, for all your church folk. The reason I say church folk, I didn't say Christians. Cause I can't judge y'all. I can't do that. I ain't gonna try to play that one. I don't know what your end's gonna be when you stand before the King in the la in your in when Judgment Day. So I can't call you that one. I just know Matthew says that in the last day, in Judgment Day, there's gonna be a lot of folk that say they were Christians and all that, and he gonna say, he gonna say he never knew them. In other words, they ain't gonna be Christians. That's according to him. Um, but but back on the subject. Um, but to many of the church folk, um, we do as you were saying, we tend to do a lot of things that really just don't make sense. Um, and it's really insulting to our intelligence, if I could say it that way, to our intelligence, because we put claims on people, as you were saying. We can't force nobody to be no kind of way. Um, you know, trying to tempt folk and making them jealous and all that. We cannot force nobody to be no, to be who we are, because a lot of people
Mhm.
get that thing mixed up, especially married couples. There are many, and I say go back to this more to the church folk, um, that when it says and the two became one, and Lord have mercy, if you don't start acting like me, if I don't start acting like you, after we said I do, we got problems. You don't really start really thinking the same way that I think. Uh, you know, we failed that when we say that we have accepted, that's the love me or love me not, that we have actually accepted that person for who they were before I do. We tend to change, forget that, and we lose as we said we have respect for who they were. All right.
Mhm.
And Lord, boy, I'm gonna get on that one a little bit later. That I ain't even gonna say the word right now. But we somehow the statements change after the I do. Is really, when you watch folk and listen to how they talk to each other and act toward each other, uh, it's really not that I accepted you the way you were before I do. Because if I truly did, then I wouldn't be trying to change you after the I
Mhm.
do.
That's right.
Okay? If I really accepted you as who you were before I do. If that's the real truth about it. But you love me before I do, the way I was, but now after I do, you love me not the way I am.
So before we got married, I didn't mind you leaving your socks on the floor in the bathroom.
uh-huh.
But after we got married, you know, you got to put your socks in this dirty clothes hamper.
hmm
But that's true though. That's true. And then it's like oh man, there's so many examples of that. Like with body types, when you met her, like you said, some people say she was a Coke bottle shape, and then after 3 years of marriage, now she's a 2 liter.
hmm
Well, hey, people body types change, but you shouldn't love her because she had that Coke bottle. So you should love her for the person that she was. She's still that same person. There's still Coke on the inside of that bottle. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and
But
that's.
now,
Mhm.
you love her not. So instead of trying to help her and encourage her to drop weight, you go out and find you somebody else that's a Coke bottle. That 3 years later, they're going to be a 2 liter Coke too, possibly.
And that's another thing. That's one of the things I was saying about you know and you were also saying not everybody can handle the truth. There are there are truths that people just don't even think about it, not only in the relationship but as an individual, which affects the relationship. Um, and one of those truths is the truth and facts of reality. And the truths of facts of reality is that no one really stays the same as time goes on. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that can range, especially with body features. That is the number one thing that tends to change as the time era goes on. That in duration. Um, Basically, 15 years later, you ain't looking like you was 15 years ago. All right. All right,
Unless you're Tina
something
Turner.
has really changed. Yeah, that's that. You have the seldom cases. You know, but the majority of folk do not fall in that box. That is a very small box. That the few people who tend to like seem to stay frozen in life. Um, um, but the majority of people, something changes. Your hair might go start getting gray. You might start losing hair. The 6 pack goes to a 10 pack. The you know, like you were saying, the Coca-Cola bottle is now a 2 liter bottle. And for some folk, it becomes a gallon jug. I'm just but I'm just saying that.
But it's still Coke in that bottle.
It,
Same Coke.
yep, still Coke in that bottle, and it's still sweet juice in that juice bottle. Okay, and and whether it was a 6 pack done turned to a 10 or 8 pack, uh, there's still strength in the in the bags.
You're so
Oh.
silly.
and
But it's
and
true.
and if the biceps them became flow steps, I mean, uh,
Something wrong with you.
you ain't heard that one. The biceps they don't stand up no more. They just fell down to the floor.
They fell down with the muscle that was in your chest and down in your stomach. Yes.
Yep.
Man, but it's true though. Even like what you were saying about there's a thin line between love and hate.
hmm
It's a thin line, between she loves me, she loves me not. It's really the same concept if you really think about it.
Yeah.
It's too easy
Right.
to step over that line in that type of a relationship. It is still bad. And that's not a very secure feeling. You love me today, but you don't love me later today
Mm.
because I didn't do this or this happened or that happened or whatever happened. Nobody falls in and out of love that quick.
Oh, and if they do, there really should be a question. Did you really love me, or did you really hate me, or did you not love me? I mean, that really should be that question from that point. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Because what kind of love is it?
Mhm.
You
Yep.
know, you have said several times there are different kinds of love.
Yeah. There are different kinds of love. Yeah.
There are different kinds of love. You know, you have to be certain what type of love it is that you want.
Right.
You know, like that you always tell the story about when somebody tells you that they love you, you never tell them no you don't.
Mm.
Just that maybe the type of love that they have for you is not the type of love that you necessarily want to meet in your life.
That's right. That's right. Because
So,
I agree with you. That's true. It's more important. I think people really spend so much time focusing on the other person more so than themselves. And if
mhm,
we, you know, if you focus on yourself, if each person focus on themselves, getting themselves straight, when you come together, you have two straightened up people who can meet at that
no,
mark. But you're too busy focused on trying to get the other person, that goes back into the control and making and trying to change, and you're too busy trying to focus on, and I I'm completely with you on that. The focus on whether somebody, when they say they love you and all that, trying to find, they want all kinds of reasons. Well, they said they love me, but why they keep doing this? But why they doing, the reason they keep doing it is because that's who they are. So
mhm,
label it. Call it that. So we want to give. I guess we want all these scientific reasons and laid out paragraphs to break it all down. I mean, it's simple. That's who they are. If they show a repetitious character, uh, call it that. That's who they are. But you need to know what, if the sun uh, went a certain degree, it's gonna cause them to act away. Well, maybe because of the temperature of the day. Now they acting. You like, what could cause, what makes them do that? The only thing that
mhm.
makes them do that is that's who they are. It's so simple.
I told you. I love that quote by Maya Angelou. When someone shows you
You
who
who
they
they
are,
are.
believe them.
Believe them. Yeah.
Believe them.
Mhm. That's
Believe them because hey, that's just people try to hide sometimes who they really are, but
mhm.
you can't hide it for long.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
eventually it's gonna trickle out.
And it trickle out.
You just have to you just have to be on your job where
Right.
you paying attention.
And paying attention. And back again.
Hmm,
I know this sounds
there
like a
you go.
broken record, but since you brought that up, that paying attention, um, we pay attention in the wrong way. We pay attention to what people do to us, for us, and with us. And the best ways, I'm not saying not to include that, but the best ways is paying attention to folk, to what they do to other folk, for other folk, and with other folk. You just in the
That's
vicinity,
it.
you can see it. You can see it because they're more
Mhm.
comfortable with, to do it, to let their hair down and be who they really are towards other folk. But they know they got to try to keep up and act. I like the way that doctor said it on the Valentine special show, that we did with, it had TD Jakes and a couple of other guests that was on that show. This one doctor, uh, Dr. Holly, she made a comment about talking to the ladies that was in the crowd. She said that, uh, she said, ladies, when you meet a guy, don't be quick like many people do to all of a sudden call yourself being in a relationship. She's like, you date them for a while and get to know them to be able to make a choice if that's the kind of person in character and all your lists and all that that you would like to be in a relationship. Like, don't just jump into a relationship and be testing along the way. He said, be sure because when you get into a relationship, that committed, that's what it's supposed to be, a committed relationship, that it's supposed to work towards something, towards like marriage. You're investing in something, and you, like you said, you just go and invest in some bonds that you hadn't even checked out just because just because somebody told you it was supposed to yield you good work. You don't check out the company, you don't check, and you go get some buy some bonds, and you probably get ripped off. But see, we don't play with our money like that, so we'll go. But I don't get, that's another thing. A whole lot of things we don't play with. We're serious, sincere, and serious, and we do majority of us do the right things to make sure, when we go get a loan, we want to know how much interest it's gonna be, how long, all the little factors. We want to check it out because we ain't got time to pay back for to loan sharks and all that kind of stuff. We want to know everything up front. We got to find out, and we make a decision on who we're gonna go with based upon the information we get. Why do we not do that in relationships? When we're talking about our whole entire life, you only live once, so each day should be as valuable as the other because you don't know when you're gonna die.
That's true. But that is true. We more careful with our money than we are with our heart.
Hmm.
That's very, very true. Because when somebody somebody gets with our money, that's unfair.
All right. Hmm.
That's a bad thing. But that's very, very true.
You know.
And you're right, we do a lot of investigating. Like if there's somebody wants to invest in this property or to take these funds, and even if somebody want to borrow money, we
Hmm.
make them jump to a whole lot of loops to make
The
sure we
whole.
get our money
That's
back.
right.
But they can sign a promissory note,
Hmm.
run a credit check.
Uh huh.
But you're right. When it comes to our heart, you just don't. Like I was saying, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. But interesting point, Jay.
Oh man, I don't know. It's just that falls into the you love me not. That's when you're talking to yourself. You know, Jay loves me himself. Jay does not love himself. Jay does Jay
I see you still got your wheelbarrow.
if
But
Jay
we,
if Jay loves himself, he would try to do the stuff that's gonna be beneficial for him. Now, if Jay hates himself, he just do whatever.
oh man, but that's true. Hey, he loves me. He loves me not.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, what are your final thoughts for the show for today?
Final thought for the day is
Oh, goodness.
uh well, first of all, I want to say it's good to have you back on the show.
Why, thank you.
I, and cause y'all, I was about to start singing um the time.
Lady K always on point.
Uh, oh, all right. Oh boy. But anyway, um, the final point of the day is that we well, do you have anything you want to say before I actually close out?
The only thing that I have to say is just that, we have to be better stewards over our hearts and over our relationships and spelling more the signs. Love me, love me today, hate me tomorrow, love me tomorrow, love me today. No, you have to really, really pay close attention to the type of relationship that you're in and determine for yourself if that's something that you truly really want. Because that's what you truly really want, then you can't complain about it.
All right, all right.
Back to you.
All right, back to me. Hey, folks, we those that stop by to watch the show, and even we know people click in so later on in time. But we just want first I want to thank you all those that do check out our show. We hope that some of the things that are said are beneficial to you. These are just our views. It's not the views of the broadcaster. I'll put that little clause like they always do for for any kind of talk show. These are our personal views. We're not saying that what we're saying is the right or the wrong. These are our views, but we believe that we're saying some true stuff. Um, and once again, you have the total freedom to disagree or to accept. Just like anything in life, you have the total freedom of choice to choose who you'd like to have in your life or not have in your life. That's based upon you knowing who you are. How much do you love yourself, or do you really love yourself? Because all that's going to be is going to cater toward the kind of choices that you make, as the Bible says, "As a man thinketh, so is he." So if it's peace and happiness and joy and all that you really are desiring to reap out of life, and I say out of life, not out of people, out of life. There's a difference in that, out of life. Because if you try to reap it out of people, um, those that believe in God, believe in the Bible, believe in uh, things of the spiritual realm, um, what that does teach us is that when you put that in people, people can be wavering. When you put that kind of dependency in people, they can be wavering. The best love that you can receive is the love that you actually give yourself, and the love that comes from God. Because if you take God's love and He is dwelling in you, He's teaching you how to love yourself. And if you can't love yourself to the highest percentage that you can be, it's going to be hard for you to love someone else, because you have to have love to be able to give love. So many times we're looking for other folk to give us that love. Many times we're looking for other folk to bring on our happiness, because I don't know, maybe sometimes you're feeling lonely. So you figure that it's going to take another physical body or somebody to just come into your life, uh, to make it better. And many times, if we could just see this point, there are many people who are struggling trying to get their life together. So, it's important that you learn that to really find that love for yourself, uh, and rather than the hate for yourself, because all you can do is just enjoy a person, accept a person, and you need to be honest with yourself. We say we want truth, we say we want folk to be honest, but we have to first be honest with ourselves. If we can just do that, if we could individually do that, boy, do you know how much better this world would be, how much better our relationships could be, if one was happy, already happy with their own self in their own life, that two happy people come together. Boy, you know how much sharing of happiness that is. But when one is not happy and the other one is happy, then you know the one that's unhappy, that they're pulling away from the happiness or joy that the other one, that's called draining. So So if the one had 100, you down to 20%. For you all to get to a balance, you would probably both balance out at somewhere at 60% or 40% of happiness, and you still have to be brought to happiness. So now, um, it's important. Seek that happiness, seek that joy within yourself. Be happy with yourself. Love yourself because you can't love someone else if you can't love yourself. All right.
That's right.
All right. Well, Miss Lady K, glad to have you
Yes,
back.
Jay.
All right. I hadn't done any ignorant jokes in a long time, but it'll be a while. They coming back, folk. They coming back. They are coming back.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. So we love y'all out there, and until next time, we just want to say, y'all just keep tuning in as we continue to bring these special tops about relationships of all kinds, not just a couple, but all kinds of relationships. All right, we're out, y'all.
We out.